Oh, seven citizens, Black here from CAsaBLACk Gaming, and I'm back with a new roadmap deep dive, which is my first one in many months following the slow downturn around CitizenCon, which inevitably led to not much in terms of roadmap news other than what we knew was coming for 321 and 322. Now, with 323 around 2 months away, we're now in a better position to see what's in store for this coming year, even though as of this week's roadmap update, we still do not have updated info for the individual teams, but there is still enough left over from what was being worked on last year versus what we know is not in the 323 update to begin to posit what is coming after 323. Now, with that said, I will not be covering what we already know is appearing in 323 because that news is out there for anyone to digest. So I will instead be covering any differences that I spotted from my roadmap tracking of the fourth quarter of 2023 versus what we now know. Now, it might seem too early to be speculating on a future update, which we still don't even know if that update will be called 324 or if they will finally roll into 4.0 with Pyro. But regardless, there will be a future update, and it's time to put on our little tinfoil hats and take a gander at what's to come and also what might have been abandoned from last year to this one. So for those of you who do not know, I track all deliverables on the roadmap from month to month and keep notes and cross-reference them with the monthly reports and Inside Star Citizen so we can see progress and if something is worth mentioning or not. And I've also caught many features in real time as they slip from the roadmap or their timelines are moved around. The roadmap announcements usually only cover the highlights, such as a new addition to the release view or a feature being confirmed or changed to meet expectations. My deep dives go beyond those superficial items and I cross-check each active item against my own spreadsheet and am quickly able to spot any changes that might happen. For instance, last year I was one of the first people who spotted the RSI Apollo was back on the roadmap and being worked on. I also was able to accurately predict several release timeframes for features and ships, which was a bit hard with how different of a year we had due to persistent entity streaming and the delays that it caused. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that following my roadmap videos will help clue us all in on when things might show up and help manage our expectations. You don't need to be Nostradamus to guess accurate dates, just track the information and notice the patterns. So here is my list of items that I was tracking heading into December 2023 that do not seem to be coming in 323, but still could be coming this year, along with the last known bit of info that we know about when they were worked on and any progress that they might have had. So far, there has been no word on a feature that was set to end mid-December from 2023's deliverables, and that is Actor Status Tier 2. Now remember, this feature governs hygiene, DNA integrity, cybernetic limbs, etc. There was no mention of these features in the December-January monthly report that came out a few weeks ago, so I think it's safe to say that it is not coming in 323. We did see some sweat and dirty face visuals at CitizenCon, so we know it's been actively worked on, and my guess for this is a post-323 update, possibly the very next one. Now, as I make my way alphabetically, artificial intelligence is next on my list of features that was worked on through December and which is tied up into the overall grand scheme of engineering gameplay. For those of you who do not know, engineering gameplay is the on-ship gameplay where players will need to perform maintenance or repairs in real time during battles or just the overall control functions of the ship that will offer additional gameplay opportunities. We know from CitizenCon and subsequent ISCs that this is expected to be a summer 2024 feature, which encompasses artificial gravity, fire hazards, life support tier 0, resource management, and possibly even Maelstrom, since that deals with the physical breaking apart of ships. So all of these features are lumped together on this intro and could be the bulk of what makes a non-Pyro update, or it could even come with Pyro as a major feature. But engineering gameplay as a feature itself could easily be the largest new feature in the game to come in a long time and carry its own update. But since Pyro was suggested to be coming this summer as well, we might see them arrive together, which would be a mind-blowing super update. Anyway, moving on. Asteroid facilities are handcrafted new locales set in the verse meant to have new gameplay opportunities both with interior and exterior gameplay loops. This work began in June of 2022 and looks to have stopped back in June of 2023. Now, with all of the new facilities the past year being done on planet and moon surfaces, and with Pyro coming along, I feel like this work is shelved currently, which is a shame because it would be nice to see some more space points of interest. This is not coming in 323, and until we see it pop back up on the roadmap, I think it's safe to say that it could be even a year or two out. Bounty Hunting version 2 is one that I'm excited for, but also probably my biggest fear of postponement, since news about it has dried up the past few months. Bounty Hunting version 2 is the next step in bounty hunting where many systems strung together, such as air traffic control, comm arrays, and even NPC informants, are going to help expand what it means to go after bounties, and also offer up the possibility of capturing bounties alive and then transporting them to a prison or jail facility. This feature is reliant on new backend tech such as virtual AI, which showed its work stopped in August 2023. Also, NPC Scheduler, which also showed its work stopped in August as well, and security services, or what it's called on the roadmap, Security Network version 1, which showed its work stopped in November. Now, those features could be complete or will need to be jumped back on, which we won't know until the teams on the roadmap are updated for 2024. Bounty Hunting version 2 was one of those things I really hoped they would show off at CitizenCon, and I even bought the Zeus MR in hopes of it arriving with Bounty Hunter version 2, but with little news, I'm beginning to think it might not even make it in for a summer 2024 release. It's easily the one feature I am most excited to see updated on the roadmap. Building interiors is a huge feature coming to cities in Stanton, where some of the buildings will be filled in, so to speak, with interiors, which will include gameplay opportunities for missions, not to mention player housing. This feature was not expected for 323 and might not even make it into the game this year, since it's quite the undertaking and might honestly be pushed out in place of base building, which I don't think many people would mind. But the January monthly report did mention that work was done for the white box phase, so maybe it will be a late 2024 feature added. We'll keep an eye out. New cave variations are something we have not heard a lot about, but I do remember seeing something either at CitizenCon or during one of the final ISCs leading up to the end of the year. So it looks like work is progressing, even though there was not movement on the roadmap for them since April of 2023 and no news on when they will arrive in the game. These caves will offer up some variety, so instead of a rocky or sand cave like we have now, you're going to see some caves with more fauna or a different biome look. They might release one here or there with various updates including 323, but until we have proof, I'm going to say not to expect them until summer of 2024 at the earliest. Cutting Tier 2 stopped work in mid-October and has not yet been added back to the roadmap, but it's probably tied into Maelstrom, so perhaps they will come out together or the work will piggyback off the other. We'll see, but this is something very much needed to help move salvage and other gameplay along, since it will allow the actual cutting of objects using hand tools. More on Maelstrom in a bit. Flak ammo is something that has not seen its work progress since June of 2023, and since there are a few types of ammunitions that had work done on the roadmap, I'm just going to lump all of those in here together, which includes incendiary ammunition, plasma ammunition, and space mines. All of these were worked on throughout 2023, and perhaps CIG was waiting on the 323 weapon changes or master modes to be implemented and used by players before adding in new ammo types, which I'm sure are already in a Squadron 42 build, but just waiting to be carried over into the PU, so perhaps we'll see one or all of these this summer or soon thereafter. Now, this feature will see some movement with 323 in the form of being part of other missions, but as far as more in-depth gameplay with it and maybe even seeing it pop up as ship features, we have not heard much about that. Hacking could in its own right be part of a profession with reputation and better gear associated with it, so that is still something we would like to see arrive in the game, but as an overall standalone feature, it does not seem to be coming fully with 323, so we'll see what the future brings and how much further it's implemented. This land vehicle is actively being worked on right now, but we have no idea on a date just yet. I would be surprised if we did not see it by the summer, but hopefully it will pop up on some future ISE, as I know a lot of folks are anxiously awaiting it. News on this has been pretty low in a year where we are anxiously awaiting it so we can have Pyro and further server stability. The replication layer tests have been ongoing but slow in Evocati, but hopefully with 323 about to hit the test servers, we will see some movement for server meshing and maybe even some technical updates for it as well on ISC. I don't know about you, but I love seeing the progress of this instrumental feature. This single feature will be what makes or breaks Pyro arriving this summer or possibly even pushing it back to fall or December. Now, I've been saying that for years at this point, but it doesn't make it any less true. Now, the hottest buzzword to come out of CitizenCon besides soccer balls was Maelstrom. CIG is bad at naming things, as this feature demonstrates. I mean, physical damage and breakability is definitely a mouthful and something that an engineer probably named, but Maelstrom sounds much better. Anyway, the work was last reported to have been ongoing since January of 2021, and that work shows that it ended in October 2023, which allowed us to see some glimpses at CitizenCon with its awesome structure breaking and promise to change ships for the better. But how far along is it? When can we expect it in the PU? Now, those are questions we are still awaiting, but I do not believe we can expect it any sooner than summer 2024 at the earliest, and I look forward to seeing its progress, particularly on how it will handle the breaking apart of ships, so salvage can get some much needed further refined love. So many of us are ready to float out and manually cut ships apart or use large ship lasers to do the same thing. Being able to cut a larger ship apart into smaller chunks means no more wasted materials and profits, so the Vulture can actually take on those bigger salvage jobs again. Pyro seems to be coming along pretty well, but as mentioned earlier, until server meshing is in-game, none of the Pyro deliverables will be arriving, so summer 2024 is our earliest hope. Not much else to say on this one, so moving on. Now, besides Bounty Hunting version 2, Quantum Simulation was the single biggest letdown that I got from CitizenCon, because I would have lost my shirt had I bet on this as a keynote we would see from Tony Z. In fact, since we've not seen anything from him, it has me wondering if they're even going in the same direction. I certainly hope they are, but we have not seen anything from him since October 2023 at CitizenCon. With economic changes coming and still nothing from him, to say I'm a little worried is just an understatement. There are now citizens in the verse who have played over a year who have no idea who Tony Z is or what this great economic achievement would mean to the verse, and that's pretty sad. Refinery ships coming to the roadmap was a huge surprise last year, but a welcome one, and the work for this feature began last year with some basic design on how it should work. Hopefully this work is ready to be implemented, as the RSI Galaxy looks to be worked on this year, and this is a vital component of it and the Arastra, not to mention the MISC Expanse, which we will probably not see for a year or two since MISC ships are not currently in the pipeline to be worked on, but would be my guess for the next big brand to get tackled. Refineries on ships is something that will transform mining and should also be more useful in Pyro, where stations are not exactly the safest places to be. Now, we know sliding is pretty much done, as we've seen it done a lot at CitizenCon, but will it make it into 323? If it doesn't, then I fully expect it to be in the summer patch, so that's why I'm tracking it here. For those who do not know, sliding is a FPS feature which will allow players, and maybe NPCs as well, to slide across the floor into a position to create more ways to bug out through walls and other structures and cause you to fall through the world. Oh, and it might also work half the time and allow you some pretty cool FPS moments during battle as well. I joke, but do I? This is such a minimal feature, and yet still one we're missing and needed. The work on Swimming Tier 0 showed wrapped up in October and was not added back to the roadmap. Let's hope it slips in soon, especially since we're already getting some new character movements in game with EVA. It would be nice to have this as well, not to mention the other character hazards that we have seen teased, such as toxic fumes, burning, and so drowning would go hand in hand with all of those. Alright, and so that's going to do it for this roadmap deep dive look at this new year and what we can expect this summer and beyond. Now, I did not cover many vehicles here because although we know what's being worked on for this year, and we've heard rumors about some other possibilities, there's nothing definitive yet on the roadmap. The Apollo was being worked on, but is it still? Not sure until the teams are updated on the roadmap. Anyway, I hope you get a lot of useful info out of these, as I do enjoy tracking the items. Let me know down below in the comments what your thoughts are on these features and when we should expect them, and also let me know of anything I did not cover that you're curious about that we might get. I do look forward to talking about these changes and also just theorizing on what and when things will make it into the game, which is something we also do over on my Discord channel, so that link is down below. Anyway, I've been Black, thank you for watching, and keep it positive as you traverse the verse, citizens.